The Miami Heat or the Atlanta Hawks? The Cleveland Cavaliers will find out who they play in the first round of the NBA playoffs on Friday night when the Hawks take on the Heat to decide that final spot in the Eastern Conference. Hey everybody, Beebe back with you on Cavs Digest. We are patiently waiting to find out who the Cavs will play in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. That 8 seed is up for grabs. It will be between Miami. It will be between Miami and Atlanta. Really interested to see that. I know all the Cavs fans are waiting. I predicted they would play Orlando. Orlando took care of business, and their reward for doing so is the Boston Celtics. So congratulations to Orlando for getting Boston in the first round, and congrats to Boston. Watch out for those elbows, is what I will say there. Welcome to Cavs Digest, everyone. If you're not subscribed, we are heading into the playoffs. We are talking playoffs. Games are bigger. Moments are bigger. Performances matter more. A lot is going to be talked about on this channel, and we would appreciate it if you guys subscribe and interact. So drop down into those comments. This video specifically, we're going to talk a ton about who the Cavs should and shouldn't want to play. Why? Miami or Atlanta? Who do you think is going to win? I mean, all those things can drop down into the comments, and if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so you can keep up as the Cavs go into their playoff run. So, Friday night, the big matchup between Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero's team, Bam Adebayo's team, Eric Spoelstra's team. We'll get into that, but we'll say the Miami Heat. Miami winning and taking care of business in their game. Atlanta not doing so against the Magic, and Trae Young ejected in that one. He was being real goofy in that game. Ejected with the classic 2 technicals. Actually did. If you haven't seen it, he faked out the referee throwing him the ball and took it back, and that ended up being what got Trae Young ejected in that game. The Hawks. We'll start with the Hawks. 2-1 they were against Cleveland, and if you remember, they were the first back-to-back losses for the Cavaliers. They lost twice. I believe it was the week of Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. They lost both games in Cleveland and in Atlanta, and it was just the weirdest feeling for the Hawks. So, as we begin with Atlanta, I'm going to talk about why I would not want to play the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, I'll give a reason for both, and then I'll leave it up to you guys what you think about these two kind of squads and how you feel about it. For the Hawks, again, they beat the Cavaliers twice. They seem to have their number in those games. That was peak Cavaliers. They hadn't really lost much at that point. I think they only had one loss before that game. Seemed like they had their number. It was concerning. It was something to look at. So that's part of it. Tough watch right now in Trae Young. He works for the foul bait. He works for the free throw shots, and he can catch fire, and he's got that playoff Trae mentality. This is a guy who beat the Knicks in a series and beat the 76ers in the series, a good 76ers team. He has played in an Eastern Conference Finals. Okay? Not soon forgotten. He has been farther in the NBA playoffs than Donovan Mitchell. That should be noted. Playoff Trae Young is a real thing, and it needs to be paid attention to. The last thing, with Atlanta, you get Niang and you get LeVert, right? I'm not sure the health of those two guys or how much they're playing, to be honest with you. I saw them a little bit the other night. I mean, those guys could want their revenge, and I highly doubt George Niang can give it to you. I know Karis LeVert can give it to you because he is so random. He can be absolutely terrible and on key completely. So those are some things to watch. Again, playoff Trae is a real thing. The revenge game from Niang and LeVert, and the matchups already. Cleveland took one, but Atlanta looked really good in the back-to-back wins, so definitely something to watch. For Miami, why I wouldn't want to play the Miami Heat. I think the first thing starts with Eric Spoelstra. He is a good coach. He is a top-tier NBA coach, and specifically he has owned the Cleveland Cavaliers in the past few years. Cavs were 2-1 against Miami this year, but man, that zone defense seemed to baffle the Cavaliers in the past 2 years. Understand you have a different coach, and that's different, but I think Spoelstra is generally a good coach. I think Miami is a tough place to play. The fans tend to jump on in the playoffs, bandwagon in the playoffs, so if you get locked into that Miami atmosphere, I think it's going to be really difficult on your team. Last thing I worry about is Miami being hot at the right time. Tyler Hero looked awesome the other night for the Miami Heat. It's been a disappointing year for Bam Adebayo, but if Miami is that team, and we know it once you're in the playoffs, if you get hot enough, Trae Young being an example, when Atlanta caught the right matchups, got hot at the right time, they end up in the Eastern Conference Finals. So this matchup, and the matchup between these two teams, I think really depends on Trae. If he's going to be great, not worry about the refs, not worry about fouls, just go out there and play, I think they have a good chance. But if Trae's really going to struggle and get mad about the fouls and the atmosphere and how things are going, I think Miami can really take this game. So that leads me to the first question, straight up, which team would you rather play? I started with Atlanta. I think playoff Trae is a real thing. I think Niang and LeVert can get hot, can make some things happen, and can get after you a little bit. And again, those games earlier in the season worry me a little bit. So you can drop down into the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you worry about Atlanta, playoff Trae? Are you worried about Niang or LeVert getting hot a little bit? And what did you notice from those two games that could crop back up? And again, I'm not worried about losing a series necessarily, just who's going to be a tougher matchup, why, so on and so forth. Now for Miami, as I said, do the years past matter to you? That Spoelstra has seemed to have their number in the past. Cavs could really never beat the Miami Heat. It was actually kind of ridiculous over the past few years. Not just in Miami, in Cleveland, they had their number. Got dominated for years, too. Going back to when the Cavs were bad, too. So I think Spoelstra is a real NBA coach and a good NBA coach, obviously. I mean, I don't know who doubts it anymore at this point. And do you believe in getting hot at the right time? Is that a real thing for you as an NBA fan? Do you believe, I believe it more in baseball. I think in the MLB, once you're in the playoffs, you have a shot. But in basketball, of course, the 7-game series usually fizzles out to who's the better team, usually moves on. But if you're hot and you take even a game that you weren't supposed to take, it can be a strong momentum shift. So do you believe that about the Miami Heat? Let me know what you think about them. If you believe they could truly cause some problems for the Cleveland Cavaliers, do the years past matter? Does Spoelstra still strike you as a great coach? Is Miami that tough of an atmosphere when they're not championship contender worthy? I'm interested to see this. Who do you have winning on Friday? I think that's a sort of a separate issue. Do you have the Hawks beating the Heat? I think it's going to be a really, really good matchup. I like that there's stakes in this game. It helps the NBA play-in tournament and whatnot. So I am interested to watch that game. I haven't decided who I want the Cavs to play. I really don't. I kind of leave that up, and I'd like to hear from you guys what you think. I leave that up and out there, so drop down into the comments, and we will see you post-game reaction Friday after we find out who the Cavaliers play in round 1 of the playoffs.